Hey everyone, welcome to the Artistic Box. I am so excited that you are here today. If you haven't done one of our art boxes before, don't worry, this is not going to be scary, it's just going to be fun. There's only one thing you have to do, and that is just go with it, have fun with it, no matter how your picture turns out. So we are going to be working on a watercolor today. And if you haven't done watercolors before, they are really fun, really cool. You can't really mess it up because you can just take your paper towel and dry it off. So let's go ahead and get started. And in your box, you should have watercolor paper, and then you should have a palette and your 3 colors of watercolor paint. You'll see black and Prussian blue. It looks really dark. And then lemon yellow. So we're gonna get those 3 colors and go ahead and pull those out, okay? And then you'll have your paintbrush, and the only thing you're gonna need is a cup of water. I use a coffee mug, or you can use a plastic cup of water. Just fill it about that much full, and then you're gonna want a paper towel. So, or you can use tissue paper in your box if you need it. So go ahead and get your lemon yellow, and we're gonna use your palette, okay? I always have extra palettes lying around. You can see mine are a little dirty. So you're just gonna put your yellow paint just a little bit, like that much, in one of the circles. Then I'm gonna do another one, and you'll see why in a second, in the other circle, okay? So go ahead and put 2 amounts of yellow in your palette. Then get out your Prussian blue, right here, this dark blue, and you're going to take a little bit of blue and add it to one of the yellows. Okay, just like that. Because later on, we're gonna use those 2 colors to mix and make green. Then you're gonna do the plain blue in another pod, okay? So far we've got 1 yellow, 1 dark blue, 1 yellow and blue, okay? Then get your black, take the top off, and you're gonna put black in another pod. And your black and blue look really similar, so try not to get these confused, okay? So you have black, blue, yellow, Prussian blue, and yellow mixed together. Okay, so those are the colors we're gonna be using. Shockingly, you will actually have a variety of green and yellow and dark blue and gray in this picture by just these 3 colors. So what's so neat is we're gonna get to mix all of them today. Okay, are you ready? All right, this is gonna be fun. So on your paper, you are going to just kind of imagine that if you were to take the paper and fold it in half, you would have like a halfway mark. Okay, that's gonna be where the halfway mark will be, where the sky and the mountains will meet, okay? So go ahead and get your paintbrush, all right? Get your paintbrush, and we're gonna water down some of the black. We want it to be gray. So get some water on your paintbrush, dip it in a new pod. I'm just adding water to a new pod, and scoop out a little tiny amount of black. If you can see, I'm just trying to make a really light gray, kind of like a stormy sky gray, okay? And your black is really strong. So you're only gonna need a very small amount of this watercolor black paint, okay? And you're trying to look for like a darker shade of gray, okay? Okay, I'm about there. So we're gonna start first with our sky, okay? And you're gonna take your brush, and you're just gonna go side to side on your sky. You're trying to create the effect of clouds. So you wanna have a little bit of white space, kind of like some darker areas like clouds, okay? Maybe some stormy clouds. If you paint depending on your mood, I don't know what your storm clouds look like. They might be like tornado clouds, or you might have like a really beautiful sunny day. At any time during this tutorial, if you do not like the way your picture is turning out, or you really want to add a new color or change something, then by all means, this is your artwork. You do whatever you want, okay? I'm just gonna show you what I would do. So I'm just trying to take my brush, I'm dipping it in water, dipping it in a little bit of that dark gray, and I'm filling in pretty much halfway on my canvas, okay? So I'm just going halfway, all the way across, and keep on dipping your brush in your water, because with watercolor, you really want your colors to like meld together, okay? So you want them to look real soft and watery. And you get that by adding water. So you want really soft colors. So like say for instance, this part is too dark. You just dip your brush in water, put it on top, and then kind of go in a circle or kind of like scrub it off, and it goes back really soft. It's pretty cool. So we're just gonna keep on forming our clouds, okay? I'm really just filling in most of the top with shades of gray. Okay. So you might want to leave a little bit of white. All right, a few white spots in your sky. Let's see how it's looking. Okay, so go over here. You want to fill in all the edges. Okay, so fill in all the edges on your sky, on your paper. All right. And this watercolor paper is Canson watercolor paper, and it's really thick. So don't worry about adding water and it going through. It will not bleed through this paper. So, see how you're liking your sky, okay? And then, let's see. Maybe we can tone it down a little bit, blend in some of those darker lines. And if at any time, if you don't like something, you can just get your brush, dip it in water, and then take your paper towel and either dab it dry to pick up that paint, or you can just smear it and it will lighten whatever you want it to lighten, okay? So it's kind of cool. You can't really paint over watercolor, but you can kind of evaporate your painting, the stuff that you don't like. All right, so we're just gonna fill in this whole sky, okay? We want it to look a little stormy. All right. Okay, mine is almost there. How's yours looking? All right. Okay. All right, that looks good. So now we're gonna work on the best part, which is gonna be the mountains, okay? We've got the sky line right here, and then our mountains are gonna go and follow this bottom line right here. So our mountains are gonna be that Prussian blue. So dip your brush in a little bit of Prussian blue, and then you're gonna add that to that same gray that you just made. And you want kind of like a darker, blackish blue shade, okay? So you're just gonna get a little of that Prussian blue, add it to a little bit of that gray color. All right, so it's kind of like that. And then we're gonna outline our mountains. Okay, so you're gonna start from the far right, and we're gonna come down, and then this mountain kind of comes up. Okay, we're just gonna build some mountains over here. And then you're gonna go back into a valley. And when you're making your lines, you don't need to make them so straight, you know, kind of add a few little wiggly parts in there. And then you're gonna come back up and we're gonna make one more mountain. So one more right here, okay? I mean, you're literally building mountains. So you're gonna do it right there, okay? And now what I want you to do is we're gonna go back in and fill in those mountains. And if you can see this color, it's kind of like a grayish blue, and I love this shade. But we wanna add some more colors to that shade. So you're gonna get some water on your brush, and you're gonna add a little bit of blue in there. So it's maybe more blue than some gray. And you're just gonna add some of that all the way across on your mountains, okay? And remember, you're making it real watery. It's supposed to look really soft, okay? Almost like you're barely even painting. Okay, so now we're gonna go all the way across, kind of fill in that area. And we want different shades. So you might want some more of that grayish color in there now. Now let's add a little bit of that bluish color, the Prussian blue. You do not want the same exact color all over your mountains, okay? You really want different shades. So now you're filling in that part of it. And now we're gonna take our brush and we're gonna dip it in a little small amount of yellow, okay? I mean, if you didn't see that, it's tiny, a very, very, very tiny amount of yellow. And you're just gonna go in and add some of that to that gray. Let's tame that yellow down. Whew. That yellow is pretty bright. Okay, so now we're gonna mix in that, and suddenly you have a new shade, kind of like a green grunge color. Okay, all right, so fill in your mountains. Now what we really want is we really want our mountains to be not only different shades, but we want the tops of them to be filled in and darkened. So in a minute, after we get our mountains the way we like them, we're gonna go back and we're gonna add a darker outline to our mountains because we really want them to stand out. So go ahead and get a little bit of that black, tiny amount of black, and then a tiny amount of that blue, okay? And we're just gonna go on top of our mountains and we're gonna make our brush really thin, and we're gonna just kind of barely outline just the top, okay? You want your mountains to stand out, otherwise it kind of all blends in too much, okay? Now, if you think that looks way too dark, this is easy. You can just go back in with your brush, get some water on it, and tame that mountain down, okay? Okay. Yeah, you don't have to be an artist to paint, and you don't have to be an artist to like art. So I hope that you are just having fun with this and going with it. So now get your brush with a little bit of dark area. We're just gonna add another little line, okay? Little lower line in the mountains, okay? All right. Okay, is it looking good? I hope so. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of that grayish color in there. We just want some different shades, okay? All right, so now you've got your style line and your outline of your mountains. Well, guess what's next? The lower part. This is gonna be kind of like a marshy area with water and some grass on the side and grass on the side here. So we now get to use our yellow, okay? So remember that last pod that's empty on yours? We're gonna use that now. So we're gonna get a little bit of yellow on our brush, put it in that new pod, okay? And then get a little bit of that Prussian blue. Whoa, that's a lot, okay. And now you're gonna make a green color. So mixing that yellow and Prussian blue, you get kind of a really cool tealish color green. And then I'm gonna tame it down a little bit so that it's not so bright. And I'm gonna add just a smidge of black, okay? And suddenly I get a much darker, more natural looking green. Now, nature has a million different shades. So if you want every bright color, you go for it. You can do whatever color you want. Okay, so get quite a bit of that color because we're gonna be using that a lot. So you want, it's some yellow, some blue, and some black, okay? You mix them all three, and now we're gonna work on the right side first, and we're gonna go all right here, okay? And we're just gonna add some land right here, all right? So we're gonna add some land here, okay? It goes almost to halfway of your picture, and you're just adding what looks like some land. But remember, you want different shades. So if you're not really loving that shade that you just made, go back and add, get a little bit of water on your brush, kind of smooth it out, okay? So it looks real watery. And then go back and just dip your brush and see what you want. Maybe some more yellow, add some more yellow in there. If you want it darker, add some more black, okay? If you were really loving the teal shade, maybe add some more teal. You're just kind of adding some different shades in here. Okay, you don't want it to be all the same. All right. So we're just gonna be adding, okay? You wanna add a little bit down here. We'll fill that in with water later on, okay? So now let's go up here in our mountains, and a little bit of land in our mountains, because the land kind of comes all the way across up here. So make sure that your land is going all the way over. And you can just keep on, I'm just dipping my brush in every color I can find. So some yellow, some Prussian blue, some black, then go all the way to this side, okay? And we're just painting, I'm kind of painting side to side since our picture is horizontal. All of our lines are kind of horizontal lines. And remember, if you want it really watery, just add some water. Make it look real watery, okay? And then I'm gonna get some of that, just that Prussian blue in my brush. And I'm gonna come in and maybe make it a little more blue. Okay, because we don't want all that shade to be the same. We definitely want to have some different shades in here. All right, so go back, add some of that Prussian blue in there. Maybe get some black on your brush. Can you tell this is just sort of having fun? Okay. There's no real rules in painting. I don't think. I just like to have fun. And my favorite part is coming up with colors. Okay, so you can just have fun, play around, see if you liked it. Remember, if you don't like it, take your paper towel and wipe it right off, okay? So, fill in this little area, okay? And let's see, let's go back and let's get our paintbrush wet. And let's see if we can erase some of this and we can add some land back in there. So I'm gonna show you how easy it is. So when you want that, get your area wet, take your paper towel and just wipe it. It's almost completely back to normal. So neat. I love watercolor. Okay, so now that we've got this area, we've got to go back and make our land a little darker. See how it's kind of blended in almost too much, you know, right here? So let's make it a little darker. Maybe add some more of that grungy green and black and some yellow. Add all those shades together, okay? All right, kind of put those pieces, outline the darker ones up front, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll add some of that color down to the lower area. So that way it's all kind of intertwined, okay? We want it to be all intertwined so that way there's nothing like that really stands out, that looks kind of awkward. Okay, so now we're gonna add in a little bit of green right here because we really don't want them to stand out. We really want everything to kind of blend in and make it look more natural, okay? So let's go back and add some blue. I think it's time for us to add some of our really pretty water. So dip your brush in some blue and let's go down here along the edges right here and we're just gonna add some of that blue all along this side right here, okay? We're gonna add all down here. We're just gonna add some blue to that area right there. And you wanna really take some of that blue right there and add it all the way around the edges of your land. That way it looks more like we actually have water, okay? Not just like a big white open space. All right. And now let's add a little bit of this darkened line right here, okay? Okay, right there. And maybe some darker green, that greenish color. Okay, a few darker lines over here. All right. And then in a minute, we need to look at it and see what we think. Okay. So let's see. So a little bit of this darker line outline, this land over here, so it doesn't blend in too much with the water. Okay. And then let's see how we feel about this picture. Okay, so now we've got our land, we've got our water, and what we want to do is we want to go back and make sure everything is like blended in together. We don't really want just one thing to kind of stand out. We want everything to kind of blend in and look like it's all blurred lines, okay? almost like an abstract landscape. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm dipping it in some water and I'm going back and I'm just blurring that area. Okay, if you see, once you take your brush and add some water, it just makes it real soft and blurred. Okay, so really soft and blurred. All right, and then we'll go back and add that one more line to where the land separates from the mountains. And we are almost done. I'm so glad you joined me today at my studio. It's usually covered with a lot of noisy art students, so it's always nice when it's just more quiet with me today. Okay. All right, so there's your picture, okay? And we just finished our landscape, so I'm so glad that we are done with that landscape now. You have a piece of artwork to hang in your house. What I always do is always buy like a wooden frame, like a 7x10 or an 8x10 wooden frame, and put this somewhere really cute where people will see it. And sign your initials at the bottom because you want people to know you painted this. And if you really loved it today, then please go back to our website, theartisticbox.com, and look at our other boxes. We've got palette knife boxes, we have other watercolors, just a regular acrylic boxes, painted on wood boxes. So check them out, go see what you think, and thank you so much for joining me today.